In this video, we are taking a final look at all of the 2024 Formula One liveries and ranking them top to bottom. Hey guys, welcome back to Affinity Racing and a Formula One video. It's been a while and Formula One is very much almost here. We've only got a couple of weeks until the season starts and just about a week or a few days now until testing begins. So with that, all of the liveries have been revealed by all the teams. We're going to be ranking them top to bottom and revealing which livery is my favourite. Let's get into it. Right, so starting at number 10, we're going to go in reverse order. So this is the worst livery of the whole lot. And I think we're very much in agreement here across the F1 community. And we're, of course, all saying Alpine. For me, this is a rather creative-less livery. And the running theme for, of course, all of the liveries this year is that there is a lot of carbon fibre. A lot of the teams stripping back the paint and the colours and all the kind of nice liveries that we very much used to seeing in Formula One. And Alpine were unfortunately one of the first to do so and one of the first to show us this carbon fibre look that all of the teams would be adopting. And yeah, we're not really a fan of it. The blues and pinks of Alpine has become quite a nice little combo. I think we're all kind of used to that and actually quite like that. But when you look at this, especially the top-down photos, punching my microphone in anger at Alpine. When you look at the top-down photos here, it's just... bleh. Bleh. It's just horrible. Not a fan of that. We want to see a little bit more colour, even if it is the horrid pink as well. That kind of got on your nerves, that sort of leftover from Racing Point, that wasn't it? The Racing Point pink, or the Pink Panthers as they used to get called. I do prefer the blue, but even just to have a little bit more of that pink in there would have been... well, it would have been something, wouldn't it? It would have been something. Moving on, number 9 in the ranks, Haas. Now, there's nothing particularly wrong, I would say, with this livery. It's kind of what we would expect, and I think that's why it kind of gets number 9. No surprises, as plain as we like, or as kind of, you know, what we're used to with Haas. I do quite like the car livery, so I actually would probably want to rank it a little bit higher. I do like the blacks, reds, and the whites. I think it's looking rather nice. Why didn't I rank it higher? I probably should have done when I think about it. But it's what we expect from Haas. It is what it is. Not too shabby. Moving on. Number 8. It is the championship. What's the word? Winners, leftovers, reigning champions. That's the leftovers. Reigning champions from 2023. The current constructors champions. Red Bull, of course. I'm a little bit disappointed. We seem to be, through the seasons, going to a sort of darker and darker blue, almost to the point where this does look, pretty much black, or at very least a colourless, very, sort of dark blue, grey, sort of like main colour in there. But yeah, I'm kind of in two minds. Like the front wing is the bit that's got the most colour, and it's that splash of Red Bull yellow that kind of sits on the nose. The car itself seems to be stripping back the colour season on season, and I'm not a massive fan, I do have to say, but it's what we expect from Red Bull. A little bit like Haas, their livery kind of hasn't changed all too much. So they're going to sit in P7. They're definitely not going to be sitting in P7 this year, but we'll get on to predictions and stuff for the championship and for the season in just a moment. But moving on, Williams. Now, I do love this livery. I do really, really like this livery. Kind of similar to Red Bull, they seem to be going for darker and darker blues and darker colours as the season goes on. There was that, I think it was last season, or maybe it was the season before, we kind of had that electric blue from Williams, and I really did quite like that sort of racing colour, but they seem to be dyeing that out a little bit and going for something a bit darker. I do like this livery overall. I would prefer, as I think with all the cars, it's going to be the running theme, prefer to see just a little bit more colour, but we're probably not going to be so lucky. There was some talk, and I did see this, and I very much doubt that it will be true or happen, but there was some talk, even in terms of commentary for F1 and spectatorship overall, queries as to whether the FIA would actually step in, or whether it would be the FIA or Formula One or Liberty or whoever, to step in and say, we're going to actually need a minimum amount of the car coloured or painted here so that we can actually, see which car is which, so we can actually know who is driving side by side. Otherwise, they're all going to look like the last year's Mercedes, all black, or the year before, all black, and we're not going to know who is who, other than the wheel rims, which seem to be the only defining factor of most of these cars. So we've got to take the paint off the cars and put them on the wheel rims instead. But there we go. P6 this time round, and it is Aston Martin. It's pretty much a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've gone for what looks to be pretty much an identical car to last year in terms of their livery. There is talk that they've, of course, improved the car itself, but in terms of the livery, very much what we expected. That iconic Aston Martin racing green, pretty much covering the car. Not too shabby. Thank you, Aston Martin, for not going for carbon fibre. Right, next up, P5 is McLaren. Now, I was actually a little bit disappointed, I want to say, with this livery, but for some reason it's still kind of ranking up there above a few of the others. As with all of them, we're seeing a little bit too much carbon fibre for me. I do want to be seeing a bit more of that iconic McLaren papaya orange. I would love to see a little bit more of that on the car, but we've got enough accents of colour. No matter where you look at this car, whether it's from the front, top down, side on, you can tell it's a McLaren, and I think that's one of the most important things. That orange, very much there. I'm still not a massive fan of the Google Chrome wheel rims, but there we are. They seem to be sticking for this season, according to the photos. In P4, it is going to be Mercedes. Now, I'm actually probably going to say this is one of my favourite liveries of the whole grid. And I would love to rank them higher, but you can kind of see already, I guess, if you know your teams pretty well, who's managed to rank above them. But they've kind of gone for a bit of a split between the old school silver arrows and last year or the year before's kind of all black Mercedes, and we have a little bit of a mix there. So they've been quite clever with it because they already were ahead of the time, Mercedes, and they went for an all-black carbon fibre showing all over the place. And then they've gone back in time a couple of years, and then back in time a few more years, with the nose kind of running down and into that silver arrow look. I do actually really, really like this. And I would love to have ranked it just a little bit higher. But in front of them, not in the constructors, may we say, from last year, but in front of them is going to be that iconic red. I think the only car on the grid that probably has as much colour as they did last season. They've not stripped it back. Huge fan, as we all are, of course, of the Ferrari red. I think it just looks phenomenal. I'm not massively keen on these yellow stripes, however, that seem to be reintroducing themselves, but I guess that's probably more to do with their shell sponsor. It feels they're kind of trying to throw in that yellow wherever they can do. Overall, absolutely stunning livery, as we all know and love from Ferrari. Hopefully, this car is as quick as it looks this year, or actually is as quick as it was last year, but can just maintain that speed and performance throughout the whole year and not be, this time, out-developed. Moving on to the top spot. Oh no, it's not the top spot. This is number 2. P2. This is in the livery list, is actually going to be the whatever they're called, the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, whatever nonsense they've gone for, or the V Carb, I think, as Matt and Tommy have cleverly named them. I'm a huge fan of this livery. I think most of all it's because we just got a little bit of colour in there. But that blue, at least on the photos, looks mega. That kind of it's a deep blue. It's not the electric blue that we had or that we wanted from Williams, but that kind of like really deep shining blue, really nice. That is going to look mega under the lights for the nighttime races, of which we have a few coming up this year. The only thing that I'm not a fan of is kind of like across the nose and the front of the car, is that huge white block, which has just basically left the space for the Visa Cash App logo and sponsor to appear on there. The one thing that it does remind me of when I work with clients for all of the design stuff and media stuff, and I say, can I have a transparent logo, copy of your logo? And then they go, yeah, no problem. And then they send me a horrible little 3-pixel thing, and it's got this big white box around it, and they don't know the difference between a JPEG and a PNG, and that is what that reminds me of there. So that's the only thing that annoys me on this car. The front wing, I would probably like to have seen that be blue as well, but instead we got the Hugo written on the white, the white wing. So that's a little bit annoying, but other than that, I do love this car. which can only mean that number one is not Alfa Romeo, because they've now changed to Sauber. But this green and black livery, I think, was a bit of a shock, but I am quite a fan of it. I'm all for the colour, I'm all for the shock factor. Again, quite a lot of carbon fibre, but in this case, actually, it probably isn't too much. The green is bright enough, strong enough, bold enough to kind of outdo the carbon fibre. Now, these were one of the first cars to get launched. I think they were second or third, just after Alpine. And so they had gone the same route, but I think then because it was something totally different, of course, I think, like myself as well, some people probably forgot that it was no longer Alfa Romeo. And so they saw this green and they were like, wow, this looks mega. This looks mega. And hopefully it is as quick as it looks, because the way they've got the kind of green, almost looks like racing stripes running down the side of the car. That can only mean, of course, that they are 0.3 a lap up on their advantage straight off the bat. The wheel rims as well, looking pretty cool. I think that is fair to say. I'm not sure if all of the wheel rims and stuff that we've seen the cars be launched yet, or what they're actually going to be sticking with, or whether they have just done that for effect of the launch of the livery. But we will soon wait and see when they all hit the track next week. So that is going to be that. P1 for me. Number one on the livery list, taking the top spot, is going to be Sauber for their 2024 livery. And that's it. That is my list, my 10 ranked top to bottom liveries from all of the teams. Where do your rankings sit? Let me know in the comments below, or at the very least, do let me know your favourite livery of the 2024 season so far. Of course, the cars themselves are not what we're actually expecting to see on track. A lot of the time they do actually take out a previous or a B car kind of, spec. A lot of the teams do not want to put straight out before winter testing the actual car that they're going to be testing, and of course they're still designing some parts and bits and pieces. But one of the main talking points is, of course, that Red Bull, which seems to have adopted the Mercedes no side pods design. So it'll be very, very interesting to see if they can make that work. But apart from that, let me know your favourite liveries, and if you do, let's not punch the microphone, that's silly. And if you do have yourselves any predictions for the season before we even go into winter testing, if you want to be super bold, make sure you drop them in the comments as well. Who would you love to see at least up there winning some races and on the podium? If it's not going to be Max Verstappen, then who is it? Very much look forward to seeing this season, this winter testing, and everyone's thoughts. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're very slowly but surely approaching our 1,000 subscriber milestone. There's going to be lots of F1 content from me over and throughout the season, so make sure to subscribe for plenty more of that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe for future videos, future episodes, and more content just like this. And while you're down there, make sure you check out our description for links to our merch store to get hold of awesome t-shirts just like this one. Any orders on the merch store goes a long, long way to supporting channels just like this. I also think the t-shirts look pretty cool, so make sure you grab what you can, and I shall see you in the next episode.